Hello, good morning. How are you today? I hope everything is going well with you. Today we are gonna take a new lesson with talk about adverb. But before talking about the new lesson, I'd like to remind you of the previous lesson that we studied before, which is adjective. What is the difference between adverb and adjective? Look at these two examples to discover that. He writes a nice paragraph. He writes nicely. What do you notice here? He writes a nice paragraph. He writes nicely. Okay, in the first sentence, we notice that nice is adjective and it came before noun. Look at noun here. Paragraph, noun. Paragraph is a noun. It comes after nice, which is adjective. In the second example, nice comes after the verb writes. Okay? Nicely. Nicely. And look at the changes that happen to the word nice when it comes after the verb. We added ly to the adjective. Why? Because it became adverb because it comes after the verb. So, what is the difference between adjective and adverb? Here, adjectives are words that describe nouns. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. How about adverb? Adverbs are words that describe verbs. Okay? Adverbs are words that describe verbs. Okay, look at the picture here. A, D, V, E, R, V. Adverb. So we call this adverb. When you look above the word adverb, you will notice 5 words. When, to what extent, where, in what manner, how. Okay, I will tell you about these words when we reach to it. And I will tell you what do we call them. What is an adverb? Adverb are words that describe verbs. Okay, be careful. Adverbs are words that describe verbs. How about adjective that I told you before? Adjectives are words that describe nouns. That describes noun. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. Okay? Look at point number 2. The adverbs can't come before or after the verbs they describe. The adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. What does it mean? Okay, I will tell you what does it mean. Open your English reader's notebook on page 58. Look at the first part, okay, and the first in the box here. Adverbs that tell how. Adverbs that tell how. Okay, here, what does it mean, adverbs? Adverbs, words that describe verbs, How about adjectives? Words that describe nouns, we call them adjectives. Adverbs can tell how an action happens. So, what does adverbs mean? Adverbs, okay, are words that describe verbs. Adverbs can tell how an action happens. Okay? most adverbs that tell how ends in ly. I will tell you now, okay? What does it mean? Okay, this sentence, adverbs can tell how an action happens. Most adverbs that tell how end in ly. Look at the first example that I gave you here. He writes nicely. Do you remember that? He writes nicely. Okay, it means when I say the adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe, like this here. I can say he nicely writes when he wrote a paragraph. Okay, look at nicely here, the adverb. This is adverb. This nicely here, the adverb, it came before the verb. Look at the second example here, and I can say he write nicely. Look, this is the verb, and look at nicely here, which is adverb. What do you notice here? It comes after the verb, and when it comes after the verb, we added ly to the adjective here, so it became nicely. When I see ly, okay, it means adverb. When I see ly, it means adverb. Look, let me, complete reading this box. Adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. We have two examples here, okay? We will explain this sentence through these two examples. Lion happily went skating. The skaters moved smoothly across the ice. What do you notice here? We notice that the word happily, which is adverb that ends in ly, came before the verb went. So went here is a verb. It happened in the past. Before it, I see here adverb. How about the second example here? The skate is moved smoothly across the ice. We notice that moved here is a verb. After it, this is adverb, which can pronounce it smoothly, and we added ly to it. Okay, so it means that we can use the adverb before the verb, like lion happily went skating, or we can say the skaters moved smoothly across the ice. It means that the adverbs comes after the verb. Okay, what does it mean, adverb that tell how here? I will tell you about it. Look at the pictures here. You will see there are 3 types of adverb. Okay, again, how many types of adverbs do we have? There are 3 types of adverbs. Number 1, adverbs of manner. Number 2, adverbs of time. Number 3, adverbs of place. What does it mean, adverbs of manner here? Adverbs of manners tells how an action happens. How an action happens. What does it mean, how an action happens? Like this example that I gave it to you here. He writes nicely. Okay, adverbs of manner or adverbs of how. It means how did he write his paragraph? For example, how did Ahmed write his paragraph? How did he write his paragraph? He wrote his paragraph nicely. He wrote his paragraph nicely. What do you notice here when I say he wrote? his paragraph nicely. It means that nicely here comes after the verb. When it came after the verb, we added ly to the word nice, or what we call it adjective. And when it comes after the verb, we call it adverb. We call it adverb. So adverbs here describe the verb. He writes nicely like this. It means that the adverb describes verbs, not nouns. What describe nouns, we call it adjective. What describe verbs, we call it adverb. Be careful that adverb comes before the verb, and sometimes we see the adverbs comes after the verbs. Okay, but we can't see adjective comes after the nouns. Okay, why? Because that adjective describes nouns, because adjective describes nouns, but adverb describe verbs here. And we have three types of adverbs. We have three types of adverbs. What are they? Adverbs of manner. It tells how an action happens. Adverbs of time tells when something happens. Number 3, adverbs of a place tells where something happens. I will tell you about these, okay, in your book here. Look at these examples here. Adverbs of manner, okay, tells how an action happens. When I like the example that I gave it to you, how did Ahmed write his paragraph? Ahmed wrote his paragraph nicely. We notice that the word nice, when it came after the verb, we added to it ly, okay, to become adverb. Okay, like carefully, slowly, nicely, safely. Adverbs of time tells when something happens. Adverbs of place tells where something happens. I will, okay, tell you through your book. Okay, open your English Reader's Notebook on page 59. Okay, let me read it now. Adverbs that tell where and when. Adverbs can tell how an action happens. They can also tell where and when something happens. Adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. I told you before. Okay, look at these two examples, like these examples here. The scientists flew there in an airplane. The second example here. Then they cleaned the airplane. Look at sentence number 1. The scientists flew there, okay, in an airplane. What type of adverb is it? The scientists flew there. When I say, okay, there, I mention the place. So, okay, when I ask, where did the scientist flew in an airplane? The scientist flew there in an airplane. Number 2, then they cleaned the airplane. When did they clean the airplane? When did they clean the airplane? Then they clean the airplane. Look at these, okay, example. We have more examples here to show you types of adverbs. types of adverbs. Okay, we have three types of adverbs. We have three types of adverbs. What are they? Number one, adverbs of manner. Number two, adverbs of time. Number three, adverbs of place. What is the difference, or what are the differences between them? Adverbs of manner tells how an action happens and it ends in ly. It means how. How did Ahmed write his paragraph? He wrote his paragraph nicely. Okay, it ends in ly. Adverb of time tells when something happens, okay, like tonight, tomorrow, first, then. Adverbs of place tells where something happens. For example, there, nearby, away, ahead. All these words are adverbs, describes, place. Tonight, tomorrow, first, then. All these words are adverbs, describes, time. How about carefully, slowly, safely? All these words are, all these words describes adverbs of manner, or what we call it how. Okay. Now open your English reader's notebook on page 58 and 59. Okay, let me answer some of the questions here and to do them together. Write the adverb that tells about the underlined verb in each sentence. Okay, let me read the first sentence here. They tied their laces tightly. Where is the verb here? Tied. So the verb here is tied. What comes after the verb? Tightly. What does it mean tightly here? Firmly. Tightly here, what part of the speech is tightly? Adverb. How did I know it is adverb? Number one, because it came after the verb and because it ends with ly. It ends with ly. What type of adverb is it? Is it adverb of time? Is it adverb of place? Or it is adverb of manner? Of course, it is adverb of manner. How did I discover that? Because it tells how the action happens and it ends with ly. Look at, the third examples here. Lamonette washed the skates carefully here. What do you notice here? I notice that the skated here is verb, and after the verb, effortlessly, oh sorry, we are not here, we are here. Lamont washed the skates carefully. The verb here is washed. After washed, what comes after washed here? Carefully. I added ly to the adverb here, which is carefully. Carefully is adverb, and it is adverb of manner because it tells how the action happens. Look at the second page, page 59. What do you notice here? Let me read, to tell you. Write the adverb that tells about each underlined verb. Then write where or when to show how each adverb describes the verb. It is too snowy to leave tonight. Okay? It is too snowy to leave tonight. Where is the verb leave? After it, tonight. What part of speech is tonight? Okay? Tonight is adverb of time. Why? Because when does he or when does it leave? It leaves, okay, tonight. It is too snowy to leave tonight. Okay? Example number 2. First we will make a shelter. Look, first here. First is adverb of time, and look, it can come before the verb. Here, adverbs comes after the verb. This is the verb, and the adverbs comes after the verb. And look at the adverb comes before the verb. This is the verb, and before it, it comes first. First, okay, it is adverb of time, or what we call, adverb of when, or what we call it adverb of time. We can build a shelter there. So, we can build a shelter there. Where can we build a shelter? The answer will be there. So, we can build a shelter there. There is adverb. It comes after the verb, and we call it adverb of place, adverb of where, or adverb of a place. Okay? Look at this activity here. We made it home safely. Okay? We made it home safely. All these words like the safe, peaceful, shy, quiet, slow, bright, dangerous, all these words are adjectives. But, okay, when it came after the verb, it became adverb, because adverbs are words which describe verbs. Adverbs are words which describe verbs. Look at the first example here. We made it home safely. We made it home safely. Okay, look, you notice that safely came after the verb made. And I can say, we safely made it home, or we made it home safely. I said before that adverbs can come before the verb, or it can come after the verb. Number 2, I laughed loudly when Tim made a joke. And I can say, I loudly laughed when Tim made a joke. Okay, I can say, I can put loudly before laughed. I loudly laughed. Or I can say, I laughed loudly. Both are okay, correct. Look at these, okay. We have more activity here to show that adverbs describe the verbs. Adverbs describe the verbs. Okay, look, we have 3 types of adverbs. Adverbs of how, or what we call adverbs of manner, adverbs of where, and we can call it adverbs of place, adverbs of when, or we can say adverbs of time. Okay, what are the differences between them? Adverbs of manner tells how the action happens. Adverbs of a place tells how where the actions happen. Adverbs of times tells where when the action happens. Okay, look at these words. All these words, adverbs of manner, ends with ly, ly. Quickly, slowly, happily, sadly, smallly, calmly, excitedly, crazily, energetically, quietly. Okay, where? In the ocean, around the island, under the boat, in the lake, through the weeds, away from all these. Okay, we call them adverbs of place, adverb of time, or adverb of when, like on a Tuesday, when sun came up, at breakfast every day. Okay, tomorrow afternoon, at night, in the morning, last week. All these adverbs of time are what we call adverbs of when. That's it. I hope that you understood my lesson, and you enjoy it. Thanks.